Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody once again to the People's Rose.
Hi.
This is a reality TV podcast where my wife and I, Brooke, talk to you about our favorite reality shows. Say hi, Brooke.
Hi.
And oh my goodness, we've got an exciting episode this week. We're going to be talking about a great episode of Claim to Fame. We're going to stop by Brooke's reality TV corner. She's going to update on the stuff that she's watching.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting excited for the premiere of Big Brother Season 25 this week. We'll check in on that. And we're also going to talk Charity's Hometowns.
Woo!
Which was the hometown episode of The Bachelorette this week. And that's where we'll start first. Brooke, what was your overall opinion on this week's episode of The Bachelorette with Charity?
It was good, and honestly, it was okay. The hometowns were not dramatic, but I would say it was not predictable. Like, I wasn't really sure who was gonna go home. I was kind of leaning towards Aaron, but I wasn't completely sure.
Yeah, it was definitely. If you gave it a lot of stake into where Xavier stood last week, I felt he was on the chopping block, but I guess he just had either he had a great week, which I think is true, or Aaron's wasn't strong enough for her to get back to what they had originally.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what she said.
Which is also so characteristic of the show. Like you were saying in the beginning, whoever goes on the first one-on-one, like it never pans out for them.
Right. Great callback. No, I think my overall impression of this hometown week episode, I thought it was a good episode. I thought, I was really impressed from, and just every single hometown date that she had when she would visit with the family. We were talking about this while we were watching it. I thought Charity's answers to every question from family members to her were just so on point.
Yeah, she's so poised, but also real, it feels like.
It didn't feel exactly. It was well thought out, but still a genuine insight into how she was thinking and not just some produced boilerplate material. She really, really was articulating herself very well, but in a non-fake way.
Was it Aaron's mom who was like, if he proposed today, would you say yes? And she was like, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Was that who it was?
That was Aaron's mom, but it wasn't like that. Like you just went, nah. It was more of a, I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was just very from the heart and genuine about the situation.
That's why I use that as an example, because it was genuine.
Right.
Like it was like, if it was, I don't know, it just didn't feel produced.
No, you're 100% correct. So yeah, let's get into it. We got 4 dates with 4 guys that she's got remaining. That was Aaron, Joey, Xavier, and Dotun. And she started off with the Aaron date in the greatest city in the world. Houston, Texas. Houston. Actually, it was more like somewhere in the suburbs of Houston.
Yeah, definitely the burbs.
The first, the second this date started, and you're like, we're in Houston, Texas. And she walked for about a quarter of a mile. I was like, you're not in Houston, Texas.
But I will say, I noticed all the cars behind her, and I was like, oh, that's accurate. Like, anywhere you go, there's tons of cars.
It definitely felt like Houston suburbs, and don't get me wrong, for those who are listening and don't live in this wonderful city, there's beautiful places to walk. There's beautiful scenery. Like I said, it's the greatest city in the world, but the vibe was definitely more suburbs. And we know that Aaron B is actually from kind of close to where we are. He went to Seven Lakes High School, if that's any indication of where he's from.
We are not close to Seven Lakes High School.
I mean, we're not close, but in the grand scheme of where the city is, we're closer than someone who lives in Pasadena or Spring, Texas.
We're on the same side of town.
I think that's what I said.
Okay.
But
I'm thinking...
I didn't know we had a geography.
No, but I just said that because do you know anything about Seven Lakes High School?
I know that it has something to do with Seven Lakes.
It's like bougie.
Okay, well, this isn't a high school podcast.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so anyways, that's where Aaron was this week in our great town. He didn't really have anything exciting planned for her that was city related. He just kind of took her to a park bench.
Oh, remember? Well, at first, yeah.
Yeah, and then they went to his high school. Oh, well, it's not even certain that it was his high school football stadium. I don't know if they said that exactly. It was a high school football stadium.
Yeah, he was like football was really important to me.
Yeah, he got her Letterman jacket,
and
and then they danced in the middle of a high school football field.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that can be romantic, but I'm thinking, come on, man. There's more he could have shown her.
That feels a little has-been-ish.
It honestly feels maybe Charity's like, oh, this guy's best days are behind him. You know what I mean? Like if we were 18, I would have appreciated this, but seeing as how I'm a grown woman and you're a grown man, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just saying there was a way he could have pulled it off. That was not the way.
Right.
So again, maybe that's why he didn't make it through. So Aaron, after, the side stuff, the main part of these hometown dates, he went to saw her family. What'd you think of Aaron B's family?
I thought they just seemed sweet. They just seemed like your typical traditional family to me.
Yeah, at first I was getting kind of lame vibes. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be lying if I said that wasn't my first. But I think that had more to do with my assessment of Aaron B and less to do with his family.
Yeah.
His brother, his father, and his mother, and his sister-in-law, who we saw very little of, but they all seemed very sweet, very supportive, very real, down to earth.
Yeah, they seemed kind of serious or like I guess sentimental, but
I don't think they were sentimental.
Yeah, okay, not sentimental. Well, remember him and his brother were chatting though, and they were like tearing up.
I guess in a sense that's sentimental, but here's why I think it's not sentimental. Because he had the conversation with his brother, he had the conversation with his dad. It almost felt like they were taking this opportunity to say things that they don't say often.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they kind of got worked up about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is fine. And then that was the beginning of these good answers to tough questions that we saw from Charity, because Aaron B's mother was kind of straightforward with it. Like, what do you see yourself marrying my son? What, the typical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Charity handled herself very well. She was very composed. Everyone who in Aaron's family seemed to agree with that. But can you say there's anything that you'll remember a year from now about this date?
Not at all.
I honestly wonder if next week I'll remember what happened.
Yeah,
this date.
it was. No.
And that, that's great. You don't want your family to be that crazy, but
sure.
And you're right. For TV, this was one of those let me go get something to drink moments.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said he was falling in love with her after that date. I guess that was the clarity he needed.
Yeah.
A little sit by the lake and a little dance in the high school stadium to be like, oh yeah, that's right. Just like I fell in love in high school, I can fall in love with this grown woman. But it was kind of sweet that they danced to their first song that they ever danced to by Lauren Elena.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever that is. I know she was on this season. Is she a country singer, Brooke?
Yeah, she is.
Brooke, our resident country music expert.
Okay, no. But I will say this is one of the few I have ever known on this show before.
Yep, Brooke, country music listener.
Okay, enough.
Okay, and so I will say though, leaving that date, I don't know if I expected Aaron B to go home. I just thought, okay, this guy's your regular run-of-the-mill boring contestant, right?
Right, yeah.
He didn't really do anything to elevate himself or bring himself down. It was just kind of whatever. I really don't have anything else to say about Aaron B except that we know eventually he ends up going home. Why ultimately do you think she sent him home? Have we said that? Why would you have, if you had to guess? Over because she had some struggles with Joey in this date, and Xavier was on thin ice. Why do you think he was the one who got the chopping block?
I think she just didn't feel a spark, and I think she likes a little bit of drama. I hate to do this. I think she said the exact opposite. She said she told Jesse that she was falling in love with all four of them. She felt for all four of them, and this was so hard, and she didn't even know if she could send them home. Do you remember that? I forgot.
So to say that she didn't feel a spark and that she wanted drama, I don't know.
She kept saying, I just don't even, am I making the right choice?
Yeah.
He's going to be shocked. He's not going to know what was coming. But I think that was more about her not wanting to break up with somebody. than it was about her connection to Aaron, honestly.
Right. Okay, well, yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
Another thing I think it could be is Aaron was one of the first guys besides the He Who Shall Not Be Named that she felt a connection with. You remember, like, at the beginning of the season, he was strong out the gates front runner, but he was plagued with, then she didn't think about him.
Yeah.
For, like, however long the season lasts.
Right.
So I don't know if it was that she just... I think the confusion has more to do with just that you're right. She had valid connections with everyone. And she was like, I did feel it with you, but so I know it's there. You know what I mean? Who knows what it is? Ultimately, he went back, not even back to Houston. I don't know if he lives here anymore. But she held the door. Although we saw in the previews, he might be coming back.
I think he's coming back.
I think it's a certain, your resident podcast reality TV host. We did the work. We did our due diligence and watched that preview. Maybe another 10 times, how many times it took to get.
We have to know,
right? But I think it is him, obviously, that comes back.
I think so.
We'll see next week how long he stays after he comes back.
Right.
So after his date, at least on the show, we go to Joey in Collegeville, Pennsylvania.
Joey.
Is that Collegeville, Pennsylvania? Where's that, Brooke?
No clue.
All
don't
right.
know, don't care.
Neither do I. Okay. It's like Collegeville, Pennsylvania. It reminds me of those Dr. Pepper. Man, what is that? Yeah, that's whatever. It is Dr. Pepper commercials. It just felt like a made-up town. There's people who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about.
I love Dr. Pepper, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Those commercials, Fansville, the Dr. Pepper Fansville during football season.
Okay.
That's where we're at. Fansville, Pennsylvania, sponsored by Dr. Pepper. So Joey's date, he's in Pennsylvania. Joey actually lives in Hawaii.
Joey lives far away from home.
Right, which,
I didn't even
that's
think
deep.
about that.
I wanted to address that. To move from Pennsylvania to Hawaii is almost halfway across. Halfway around the world.
Dang, dude.
So I'm, and there was some tension.
Yeah. Maybe there is more to this story.
He didn't have to move to Hawaii. He could have moved to Ohio.
Joey, yeah, because let's get into that. Joey's uncle, from the jump, first of all, showed up at their little individual date playing tennis.
Right, because Joey is a tennis pro, which
Yeah.
is like tennis instructor, right? And
the uncle was he was just like, oh, me and my uncle are so close. We don't know if this is mom's brother, dad's brother. We don't really get a backstory about why they're so close.
We did, actually. His uncle is the reason he learned to play tennis and why he loves playing tennis, and his uncle was there for him, teaching him tennis and throw.
Shoot, I must have fallen asleep during that.
You were kind of. I didn't want to call you out. You're a little zoned out during these parts, but don't worry. I watched for us.
Okay, and then didn't they say at one point too that they're very similar?
Kind of, and maybe interest and likes.
Well, anyway, then the uncle was like, something's off. Joey wasn't being himself at the tennis courts, or there wasn't chemistry at the tennis courts.
Which is, if you can't find chemistry at the tennis courts, then I guess it's just all over. Yeah, he literally walked in, said, hey, how's it going? Charity's smiling, she's giddy, having a great time. And he looks with Joey, and then they cut away to his interview with the producer, and Joey's uncle's like, don't see it.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Joey hates this girl.
Right.
No, he didn't go that far. But he from the get-go was kind of skeptical. Now, Joey said that his uncle's a skeptical guy.
Yeah,
so I guess we couldn't be too surprised, but it was kind of from the get-go with his family.
Okay, so then
Rocky.
The uncle talks to Joey, and he's basically like, is it even really there? And I thought Joey did a great job of being like, yeah, I really like her. Like, this is, did you say I'm in love with her? Eventually he did, right?
No, I don't know if he ever really said that to anyone but his mother that they showed on film. He did say, that he did tell his uncle, like, affirmed that he could get there with her and that she
yeah.
could be the one.
Well, then the uncle was like, well, are you being your true self? I know you can be a people pleaser. Didn't he say that?
Yeah, he said, are you being who you are or who you think others want you to be?
Right.
And he alluded to that being an issue that Joey or maybe their families had in the past. We do know his father came out to the family kind of, I don't know if you can call it halfway, but while he was married to the mom still. And who's to say how long the father felt he had to be somebody else to please his family.
That's what we were talking about, because
right.
the uncle was it seemed like they were, because even when Joey was talking to his mom, it seemed like the whole family was like hypersensitive about not being your true self and like importance on being your true self in a relationship.
But they never made it clear if they were talking specifically about Joey and his experiences, unless I missed that, or just in general that was a concern of their families.
Right. Yeah.
But I guess understandably, well, for anyone that's ever tried to people please, that can be an issue.
Right.
Before we get too far down Joey's track, I do just want to say Charity going into this date was all set on it being a great date with Joey. She said multiple times that at the end of the night, if all things went well, she wanted to tell Joey that, because Joey had said he was falling in love with her, and so she wanted to let him know this next date, oh, I'm also falling in love with you, which is kind of a sign, like, wow, this guy's a front runner. This guy,
right. Yeah.
So she's giddy. She wants to meet his family. She's like putting her best foot forward and doing the best she can to try to get to that good date. But so far it wasn't, I guess it was, but he were already getting pushed back from the family. So we saw his dad, his mom, his uncle, his sisters were nice. You got the protective sisters, but it didn't seem like they were pushing her out or anything, right?
Right.
And then finally, like they said, we just got a bunch of like, are you being real, Joey? You got to focus on yourself. I mean, you got to be the person who you want to be and not who someone else wants you to be. But he just was adamant that he was being real. And she also was adamant that he was real because Joey's uncle also brought it up to her.
Right. He was like, are you certain that you're getting the true Joey? How would she know?
How would she know?
How would she know?
Like, I don't know. Is he you tell me.
Right? So then she's like, I think she was really caught off guard and didn't really know how to respond, because that's what I would have wanted to ask, but I don't know if I would in the moment. But afterwards, I would be like, well, wait, what do you think I'm not seeing? Or like, what are what are you alluding to?
Exactly.
So, and then they left on really weird terms. Like, when she was getting in the car, she was crying because I think the uncle put this, like, skepticism and doubt in her head.
Right.
So then Joe is like, what is going on? And I was so frustrated. I wanted her to tell him in that moment, but I think she was like, overall, it was a good date, so I don't want to bring this up and like rock the boat.
Right.
But poor Joey was like, what's going on?
Right.
Which maybe he should have just asked, but I don't know.
It was very weird because he was kind of plowing through. You know what? I'm thinking this thought while it's happening, while I'm speaking it, because she didn't really vocalize hey, your family was kind of weird. They don't, you know what I mean? She was just kind of whatever, moving on. And he didn't really push forward to say, hey, things are a little weird. Are you okay?
Exactly.
He was just like, it's going to be good. Everything's going to be great. And she was like, yeah, I hope so. And it's like, hey, can y'all communicate?
Exactly.
I mean, as much as it seemed like they were strong and he was going to go quite a ways, which he has. I don't know if that's a good start, if this is the start to their relationship. Right. This lack of communication.
Well, I think this is going to come back. Like, I think they're going to talk about it again.
Definitely.
To come.
At some point, they're going to have to.
Also, we should note, this was Charity's, she said, first time meeting a family that wasn't Black, right? She said, this is the first time meeting a family that doesn't look like me. Right. So, good job, Charity. That's great. getting out there, changing it up.
Okay, yeah.
And also, I'm glad that they were nice to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it could have gone a very different way.
Right. Okay, so that was kind of it for that. Then we move on to Xavier's date. He's from Cleveland. I don't know if I remember that because he lives kind of North Carolina. I guess that's where he's going to school for his
yeah.
PhD, I think it is, right? Or what? Master's, whatever it is.
PhD, I think.
And so they started off, okay, so she's kind of had this view of Xavier as kind of like an aloof player who isn't really ready for commitment or a deeper, more vulnerable relationship. And so what does he do? He has a very deep and personal relationship. I mean, date with her in Cleveland. They go knitting.
That was so freaking cute.
I guess it's just like
that
knitting.
Was so cute. It was like a knitting club.
Right.
It was
cool.
like the most unique group of people.
But they were all very earnest.
It was awesome. And they just seemed so happy. Xavier seemed so light and free and personable. Like, it seemed like he could genuinely be himself around his family, which I think is amazing. Right.
And so we got knitting date. We got a cafe, which was very, you just sit and talk and have some coffee. And so we got to see, he's showing him from the get-go his softer side, which I think was the right move. Not that it's about moves, but remember he was on rocky ground, so maybe this has played a part into why he's still around. And then he said, he was just still honest about how he'd overcommitted in the past, and his family affirmed that and shared these conversations. And just like you said, they were serious, but they were nice and sweet and sincere to Charity. We spoke of her glowingly. And I think another thing that came through strong is that they all kind of said how much Xavier had told them he was ready to be in a relationship and was ready to be a dad.
Yes.
Which I think for Charity was like, oh wow, these are thoughts he's having. This is where he is in life. That's where I am. Presumably, I guess is what she was thinking. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if if I'm rooting for anyone, I am kind of rooting for Xavier. I
love Xavier.
Right. I thought he just seems like a good guy. He's smart, he seems polite and sweet. And so I was just like, this is the kind of guy you want,
What?
There's 3 black guys. So, I mean, it's not like he's the only representation, but you're like, these are the kind of guys you would want your sister to pick, right? You know what I mean? So it's good to be that he's up there. And so I hope I
truly think Xavier and Dotun are both great picks. I think Joey is an okay pick, but I am iffy after his family.
Right. Only not because he's a bad guy, but maybe he doesn't have full self-awareness of who he is.
Right, exactly.
Maybe he's not at that stage in life where he can commit to someone else.
Sure.
Okay, so we're 3 dates in. Of the 3 so far, actually I'll ask this question after we talk about Dotun's date. So Dotun, we went to Fresno, California, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we saw his family. They're from Nigeria. They did the fake out. He, of course, thought his parents who were vacationing in Nigeria were not going to be able to make it. But, we come to Dotun's house. We meet his aunt, sister, brother, grandma, who seemed awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then around the corner comes his parents.
Yay!
Which is very cool.
Very
that was very
sweet.
Of course you'd like to see your parents
very,
come
very
home.
Sweet.
I mean, they're Nigerian for real. They still have the accents.
His mom seemed to love Charity, and he was like, I don't know, my mom can be really critical.
But no, she came right.
And at the end, when they showed all those gifts she gave her, that was so cute.
Very
like
loving.
Gifts from Nigeria.
Right. She said African prints and various fertility items. So they were speaking very highly of him. It's always good. Sometimes you get to these hometowns and the family, in the sweetest way possible, is telling, hey, we don't know if he's ready. They got to support their guy, but we didn't have too much of that on these dates. Dotun's, like everyone else's family, spoke very highly of him, which is a good sign for Charity's choices. And then after the family meal, Dotun took her to a drive-in, which was cool. Remember,
super cute.
Charity saw it as a sign because her dad went to drive-ins with her mom.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of wanted to be like Charity. I think everyone's parents did that at some point in time because they're old, and that's what kind of one of the options were at the time. No, I'm joking, but she really took a lot of stock in that he did that, and I thought the growing up videos from Dalton's family and hers family were always cool when they do that, and so
right.
I would think of the activities, like the hometown activities, show who you are. I think of those 4, we had the drive-in, the knitting, the tennis, and dancing in the high school field. I think the coolest one was the knitting. You got to see him in a different environment.
Yes.
He was relaxed. He was patient when he was showing her how to knit.
Yes.
But the Dalton drive-in was a close.
Agreed.
So again, we got that kind of a mild shock at the end when it was Aaron B who was sent home. So our final 3 now are Dalton, Xavier, and Joey. And going into next week, who do you think is the front runner? I guess just as where we stand now.
I think Dalton.
I agree. I
really do. I think, but I don't know though. Her and Xavier really have a chemistry, like a sexual chemistry. So the fantasy suites may push him a little further. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Xavier and hers connection is strong. It's just kind of late blooming, don't you think? I don't know if there's enough time to catch up.
That could be true. That's a fair assessment.
So where she's at with Dalton. Dalton's kind of always reassured her, but we'll just see.
Okay, so now that we're on top 3, do we want to say who we think is getting the final rose?
I guess, sure.
Who do you think it is?
Well, that's kind of what I was just saying. That's the kind of question I just asked. That's what I meant by who you think the front runner is. I said Dalton. Do you not think it's Xavier? That's what I was asking.
I do think it's Dalton.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Okay, yeah. So that was another week of The Bachelor. I think it's been a good season so far, but it's just going to be one of those. Oh yeah, charity season was nice, I think.
Yeah.
No matter how crazy it gets here at the end.
Agreed.
It has felt quick, I will say that.
Yeah, very quick.
Okay, before we get on to some other reality shows, some of our other bigger shows, I do just want to do a quick Project Runway pop in. Anna survived another week. For the small
She's on
overlap of people who watch Project Runway and listen to this podcast, just know we're full on. I'm a full on Anna.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Supporter, and it's sometimes I'm like this. The last week, Brooke, she had a good run. The judges were like, another great design from Anna.
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh.
You can't count this girl out.
Yeah.
I truly think she has the best style, but we don't have time to get
personal
too much.
style, maybe not her fashion.
Yeah, you're probably right, but we don't. Like I said, go Anna, keep it up.
I think Brittany is on thin ice, and I'm sad about that. But we had a Christian Siriano save with Rami,
right,
which is cool.
Yeah, so we'll hopefully that season. I'm enjoying this season. Hopefully, we'll just see Anna stumble her way all the way to the final fashion show. Okay, let's hear from Brooke. You got some stuff in your little corner of shows that you watch, and most of the time I know what you're talking about looking at our notes, but I don't really know what any of this stuff is. So
Okay.
fill us in.
Okay, lots of drama this week. So Monique Samuels from Real Housewives of Potomac. You may know her as the girl who got into a physical altercation with Candace, but is no longer a housewife because of it. Her and her husband recently got divorced following the fight, and it was alleged that she was having an affair with her trainer. Well, there is a friend of the housewives named Charisse who is allegedly the person who started the rumor about the affair, and Charisse was seen this week having dinner with Monique's ex-husband. So, take that as you want. Not sure what's going on, but it appears that they're having some sort of relationship. So, pretty shady, if you ask me.
Okay, are those two... I know Monique's on the show. Is Charisse on the show?
Yeah, she's a friend of.
But she's not a cast member.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so the there's the cast, and then there's the friends of. So they're the ones that are on the show, but they don't get to be on the intro and hold the like for Georgia or Atlanta. They hold the peach.
Yeah, I think they're just.
I don't know what they hold for Potomac.
I think it's just they're not a cast member. You know, they're.
Yeah, but it's like a thing. Like they'll be like, "Oh, Marlo's dying for her peach," and she like finally got her peach. So like, "Oh, Marlo got her peach." So it's like a thing.
Okay, you're right. I don't know. I don't watch the show.
Exactly. I'm telling you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so then on Kardashians, it was the season finale. Lots to unpack with Khloe and Tristan, but I'm honestly not so interested in that. I'm more interested in the Kim and Kylie of it all. So Kylie, she came on the show this season in and out, and she did her Kylie thing, which is not really give any information about her life whatsoever.
Right.
She's like very much under the radar, which, okay, whatever, that's fine. But in one segment, she was like, Kim and I have gotten so close because we have come to find out that we are so much alike and we have so many similarities. And she was like, I can't really get into all of them, but like we'll text and be like, oh yeah, same. So I'm like putting over here, like getting these theories. Well, it's like, I feel like it's obvious it has to be similarities between Kanye and the end of Kim and Kanye and Travis Scott and the end of Kylie and Travis, and the fact that both of them, Kylie and Kim, moved on to these, I don't even, just like
Skinny
weird,
white guys.
yes, skinny white guys. Because it is now alleged that Kylie is dating Timothée Chalamet, and Travis has a line in his song about him, right? Like him being Willy Wonka.
Yeah, it's I guess a diss to her to her dating Timothy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll take that as a confirmation that they're dating. So that has to be what it's about, but that's pretty much that. Then last thing on Real Housewives of Miami, Lisa, in the most recent season, one of the big storylines is that Lisa's husband Lenny is leaving her, and it was bad. Like it was like shocking. Like he basically just pulled the rug from underneath her and was like, I have a girlfriend. Like, this is what happened. He had a hot mic moment where he was telling another person. A hot mic moment is when I explained this in the first one.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so he had a hot mic moment where he was talking to somebody else about his mistress, basically his girlfriend, and how he wanted to leave Lisa. So then it came out, and then Lisa. So then he did. Well, the divorce is not finalized. They're still married, and he posted on social media that he is now engaged to his mistress.
Yikes.
So Lisa gets on there, and she's like, congratulations to my husband Lenny and his mistress on their engagement. It was fabulous.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great way to handle it.
Same. So yeah, that was the news with that this week, and that's gonna be it for my little reality roundup.
What a nice check-in. I like that I don't have to. I mean, I can just, instead of watching these shows, I can just listen to your lovely voice.
Oh, thanks.
Tell me what's happening. So that's good. Okay, before we get to Claim to Fame, which was an excellent episode.
Such a good episode.
We have to prep for the premiere of Big Brother, which will be Wednesday of this week. Maybe today, maybe it was yesterday, depending on when you're listening to. For those who don't, that's our attempt at the theme song for Big Brother. We're big Big Brother fans. We've been longer than we've known each other. Both really big super fans of the show. Uh, as we were dating, it was a big part of that process.
We'll
So
tell you all
just
that story soon.
yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a lot of Big Brother on the show. Just a heads up. But before the season premiered, we had the special, which we're a family. We yet to see that. JV did not let us watch that yet. The 25th season special for Big Brother. It's season 25 of Big Brother. But aside from that, they have released the cast list for this season. And man, we're excited. If you go to, I think it's, what is that called? Weekly Hollywood Weekly, Us Weekly. What is
Us
that?
Weekly?
Maybe it's Us Weekly. They had that cast list with all the bios, not full-on bios, but just little blurbs about them. And then a lot of other media outlets have gotten to interview the cast so far. So we know quite a bit about them. It looks exciting. We got a diverse cast. We know CBS is committed to casting the reality shows to kind of, match the changing way America looks, which is really great. And this cast, it's always tough when you get a cast list because you may think one thing about somebody and be completely wrong and be disappointed. But we just got a lot of info. We'll talk about that when the show actually premieres. But before that happens, Brooke, looking at the cast list, looking at some of the people we've got the info on, who would you say are your two most excited cast members for whatever reason? You think they'll be villains? You think they'll go far? You think you're going to root for them?
Oh my gosh, it's so hard. First of all, there's so many super fans, which is awesome. I love that. It looks, I mean, you already mentioned this, but it looks like such a good diverse cast with different backgrounds. I mean, of course they have, like, they've obviously casted, like, oh, the jock, oh, the
yeah,
but still I think it looks good. Gosh, it's so hard to say who I think is gonna go. I don't even know. I think Riley has some potential.
Okay.
And
why?
Well,
Riley's 24, Nashville bartender, claims to be a super fan.
I think because her whole family are super fans, so she's probably been watching for a long time.
But that can, we know that can be actually a detriment.
Yeah, you're true. That's true. Maybe Nicole, because she does the political stuff.
Okay.
She might be good. I mean, if she's trying to play like Janelle, then
yeah,
that's promising.
Okay, well, we're gonna hold you to that. Every single week they do something bad on the show, I'm gonna play sound bites of you saying that you're rooting for them, so you can be wrong.
You know what I just said though I just said. Oh, the typical jock. I'm actually not seeing the typical jock. Maybe Corey, but he actually looks like little.
I think they do have. If you've seen the full body, Jared is pretty big, and I think Matt Klotz. He's a Olympic gold medalist, Deaf Olympic gold medalist. So
oh, true.
And maybe not typical in that sense, but no, you got some jocks. Okay.
Wait. So why are you gonna play mine back and say? Oh, you were wrong. Wait, hold on.
It was a joke. Joke.
Wait, I want to hear who you think is going to be good so I can play it back and tell you were wrong.
I've been trying to get to it.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, that was what I was about to say next. Okay, so I think I just got it. I think Blue Kim, I think that's her name. That's how she's got her name listed. Blue Kim is going to be a strong contender.
Why?
She's a brand strategist. I think brand strategy is you think about how you're portrayed or how a corporation is portrayed and how you want people to act as a result of that. I think that's a big part of Big Brother. She seems to be personable. And if she's thinking in that way, I think she can go far. Okay. I am also going to put in stock for Jack Baines. He's an owner of a truck company. That means he's good at facilitating people. He's the first Sikh house guest in the U.S. Big Brother history. He claims to be a secret genius, which I think would make me personally dislike him. But you kind of need that kind of irrational confidence to do good on a show like this. And then finally, just personally rooting for Jared Fields is the son of Siri, who is a Survivor legend, and she was one person we rooted for on this Peacock reality show called Traders. She did really well on that. And her son, Jared Fields, like I said, is on the show. So, I mean, I hope he does well. I don't know if he's going to do well just because his mom is good at reality TV.
I know. I feel like I don't want to put... It could go either way. I don't want to put too much pressure on it, or expectations.
But we've got literally so much more to say about Big Brother. If we start getting into it now, it will spend 2 hours talking about it on this 1 hour podcast.
Literally.
Okay, so let's get on to this awesome episode of Claim to Fame. If you're not watching this, let me just take a moment. I guess Brooke and I will both take a moment. This is a really, really fun show. I think it doesn't have the commitment as Big Brother with all the live feeds and all the other things going on, but it's also got the casual interest though of us guessing along with the contestants who their celebrity relatives are, so you can participate at home. You know what I mean? And you might be thinking about it even when you're not watching the show. And as we've learned this week, it's got twists, it's got turns, it's got shocks, it's got strategy. I'd say it's a really great show. And if you're not watching it, you should at least check it out.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, what happened on this awesome week of Claim to Fame?
Okay. Well.
I'll say it started off a little weird. I felt the editing was kind of interesting because they were covering a lot of stuff that I was like, that wasn't on last episode, but they kind of just were breezing by. It seemed like, and I'm talking about how they just kind of were like, oh yeah, now everyone knows that Chris is not related to Jim Carrey because they just showed everybody seeing his clue out of nowhere. That didn't happen, I don't think, last episode, did it?
Yeah, they did just kind of show everyone looking at Chris's clue.
And then it was just kind of like catching us up. And I think I know why now, because there was so much stuff that was going to happen in the episode. They just kind of wanted to breeze by that. Let you know, like, everyone knows Chris is not Jim Carrey. Everyone thinks JR is related to the baby. Not everyone. And then Chris and Gabriel shared clues about Hugo and Monet.
Okay, so they had the interrogation challenge,
which was great. We liked that from the first season.
Yeah, so basically one person goes into the interrogation room, and the rest of the cast get to ask questions that they're hooked up to a lie detector, and so they have to answer. And they can see like their heart rate. They have a heart rate monitor.
So it's not really hooked up to a heart rate lie detector. They just could just see the heart rate and judge for themselves if they were lying.
Oh, okay, my bad. So, I thought they had great questions, but here's the thing: is they don't know if you're telling the truth or not. Right.
So you kind of can decide.
So then, I was a little confused on this. So. The people that are asking the questions, they then make a guess to who the celebrity relative is, or how does that work?
If they explain that, they didn't explain it well, because at the end they tallied the correct number of responses. I was like, wait, what?
But like, what did they tally?
It had to just be like what that person was going to answer, yes or no, right?
Oh.
And I guess, or maybe it was, is this the truth or not? But they don't tell them if they got it right. It was just, they have an idea that they were on the right path.
Okay.
The how of how they picked a winner was a little fuzzy, but I thought the interrogation questions, in and of themselves, what they revealed about the contestants, were victory enough for some of these people.
Yeah, so
some of the standout questions where they focused on Chris to kind of eliminate that it was Jim Carrey, but they didn't get any closer to guessing who he's related to.
Because all of everybody left is young. Like, I don't think they're gonna even know who Donny Osmond is. He's like sweating bullets. Like, now they know it's a 70s teen heartthrob. And I'm like, dude, who even is a 70s teen heartthrob? Right.
So then we had JR. All of their questions were geared to him being either the baby or a Miami Heat basketball player.
JR did really good.
He did really well until Gabriel, who wins the competition, pulls his clues.
Yeah.
And the clue is still fuzzy, but the ending part of it is Old Town Road.
So it has to be Lil Nas X. But
JR
you know
is
what
black,
it said?
so it's not Billy Ray Cyrus.
It said BIU at the beginning of the clue.
But
does that mean could it be bi?
No.
Why?
So when you write on a Word document, you can select bold, italics, or underlined.
Oh.
And it was bold, italics, underlined, and it had the B selected. So it was bold artist who made Old Town Road.
Oh.
So that's Lil Nas X. Which I was really proud. I figured that clue out. So yeah, so we know he's related to Lil Nas X, which they know now. Chris and Gabriel do, but at that point in the show, when they thought he was DaBaby or a Miami Heat basketball player, they had no clue.
Now, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say now, when it comes to Gabriel, nobody knows anything about Gabriel.
Right. Let's just go through who they have no clue on. They have no clue on Gabriel. They have no clue on Chris. They now have a clue on JR being Lil Nas X. They have no clue on Monet. They think it's Tracy Morgan. Yeah, it's JB Smooth. That's who it is. It can't be. I don't know how, if you don't know who JB Smooth is, you're never going to guess that. It's going to be hard too.
Right.
Well, I guess that goes for anybody.
Well, they also had no clue on Olivia.
They had no clue, and we had no clue. I don't think anyone in America.
Nobody knew Olivia.
So, okay, and they have they have a clue on Carson. But let's get to it. Okay, so let's fast forward to the end. Olivia ends up being in the bottom because of the challenge along with Chris. So they choose Olivia to guess another person's celebrity relative, right?
Yeah.
And of course she picks Carson, which everyone just knows for sure is related to Jeff Gordon, even though she said bold-faced to everyone's face, I'm not related to Jeff Gordon.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, whatever, Carson. To the point that even I and you and I looked at all the clues and were like, it's 100% Jeff Gordon.
I mean, yeah. I never said that because I don't know anything about NASCAR.
Right, but it was convincing that that's who it was.
Sure.
So when Olivia got up there, picked Carson, and she was like, I'm so sorry to do this to you. Carson, like, it's okay. You know, if someone's going to send me home, I'd want it to be you. Olivia says Jeff Gordon. The TV, we think they're doing a fake out to make us think it's not Jeff Gordon. But I'm like, yeah, it's Jeff Gordon. It wasn't Jeff Gordon. So I think it's confirmed it's a race car driver, but they don't know. No, no one in the house has a clue.
Nobody knows.
They're just going to have to guess the race car drivers
and then
they know.
She was like in her little one-on-one interview. Yeah, I just let everyone think it was Jeff Gordon. I went along with it. Right. I was like, oh my gosh, that's genius.
Right.
But the most shocking twist of all was because Olivia guessed wrong. Her celebrity was revealed and she had to go. And her celebrity was Jenna McCarthy. And everyone was like, what?
Everyone instantly was like, we never would have guessed that. She would have
won.
Never
would have guessed that. She would have won. Literally in the beginning of the episode, I was like, Olivia is playing such a great game. She's like under the radar. Right. People are bouncing around Carrot Top.
Right.
But
they thought maybe Jim Carrey for her for a little while as well.
But remember, she was going so hard on Jim Carrey.
Right.
She was like really trying to get everyone to guess Jim Carrey for Chris.
Right, because that would explain the mask clues, which we found out was related to her celebrity.
Not Ace Ventura, or not Jim Carrey.
Right, not the mask. Right.
Right.
So, Jenna McCarthy, I truly just don't know how anyone would have guessed that. Unless one of the clues was like anti-vax advocate. I don't know who would have ever, under any circumstances.
No disrespect to Jenna McCarthy, but I don't know a thing about her. Surprisingly, Masked Singer is not a reality show we have ever watched.
I would say not surprisingly. I think that show looks horrible. I mean, if you enjoy that show, I'm glad you can enjoy horrible TV. But no, it's not. It's not that mean. You can be. It's totally fine to like that show. I love some shows that I admit are horrible. Masked Singer is a horrible show that I do not enjoy. Okay. So yeah, it was a really shocking twist. Even when we thought we knew for sure what was going to happen, a second later, we had no clue. So I would say the people, because of how little they know about him, Chris and Gabriel are working together.
Yeah.
I think they're strong. I think they're eventually going to realize Gabriel is related to Kel. Could be Keenan. It's not Keenan, though. It's Kel.
I guess it is.
It's 100% Kel.
But why do you say that?
He looks and acts like Kel. He's not related to Keenan. Okay. If he is related to Kenan Thompson, I will let you, I don't know. We'll figure out something. But he's Kel. Like, look at him.
I just think the only thing you're going off of is how he looks, which that has not gotten us very far for anybody. And the burger from Good Burger, he said was his clue. So, maybe, but I don't know.
They were talking about Saturday Night Live. If Keenan was your brother, you would know every single person who's been on Saturday Night Live, because Keenan's been on Saturday Night Live longer than anyone has ever been on Saturday Night Live.
That might be true.
So, okay. So, yeah, that's where we stand. I think
Gabriel's clue is going to get pulled next.
Yeah,
as long as he doesn't win.
I think Chris right now is in the driver's seat. And honestly, I don't know how anyone's going to guess JB Smoove from Monet. I don't
know. I don't think so.
As long as she doesn't
either.
have to guess someone she doesn't know, I think Chris and Monet are in powerhouse seats right
This show is honestly hard. And even Chris said it this episode. He was like, I don't have my phone and I don't have my wife to help me with this pop culture. So, like, I have to... Like, at this point, everyone's sharing clues with everyone. Right. I mean, they're doing it under the radar.
Right.
But... they have to try to figure something out.
Right. Well, that show's hard for him because he doesn't have his phone. He doesn't have his wife. But this podcast is easy for me because I do have my phone and I do have my wife. It's a pleasure podcasting with you, Brooke.
Thanks,
I hope.
Babe.
I think we've covered all we're going to cover this week. I know you're just dying to hear more from us, but tune in. We might do a special additional episode for the premiere of Big Brother. We don't know, but we'll be talking more reality TV coming soon. If you want to check in with us before our next episode, you can find us on social media at ThePeoplesRose on Twitter, Threads, and Reddit. Or you can just look for us on any podcast app that you use and maybe listen to an old episode. But again, thank you for listening, and we hope... Well, you got anything else to say before we go, Brooke, or are we good?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we hope you're around with us next episode. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.